Welcome back to another episode of Caps Off by the Game Day here still at Radio Row in Las Vegas. Ahead of the Super Bowl, we got a very special guest.
Extremely.
Long time coming in the flesh. He made his way all the way across the pond. We got
just to come on the pod.
Just
The
for
only
this.
reason he came was to come on
For
Caps Off.
the Caps Off, we got George on sports, ladies and gentlemen.
It's a pleasure, guys. Honestly, I'm so happy that I'm here. I'm so happy that you guys are here. I'm so happy to be part of this because you guys know how much I support you, how much I think you guys do a good job. So this is lit, man. This is lit.
We're so excited that you're here. I'm pumped that you came across. I think our first appearance on another person's show was your show.
Yeah.
I actually didn't know that. That's kind of surprising. That's surprising.
You asked
Well, you got us early. You came in
Yeah,
early.
yeah.
You were like,
Bro.
you bought
Jumped
stock
in.
early.
Yeah.
And then it's crazy, man.
Early adopters, man.
It's awesome. And
Look at how far we've come.
I feel like
real.
that might have been, what, 2 years ago? Year and a half
I think
ago?
so, yeah.
A year and a half ago. It was
man.
last year's season, like week 5 or some shit like that.
And then we had always like talked through Instagram and everything,
Yeah,
supported
man.
each other, and then finally we got to meet you here face to face, put the
Crazy.
face behind it. It's exciting, man. I'm glad you're here. This is awesome.
It's very exciting. All right, well, this is I think going to be our last episode of the week here at Radio Row.
Yeah.
So we're going to do a little predictions today.
Ooh.
We're going to talk about, obviously, our output of the game. Hi, Serena. Our output of the game, what we think is going to happen, but also player props, things like that. So if you want to place any bets with us for the big game, be sure to go to thegameday.com. Sign up for FanDuel.
/promotions.
We're going to be looking at FanDuel odds here. I think I could still pull up the odds.
You probably
you?
can.
I think
probably
you can.
You just can't place a bet.
I just wanna be
Conglommies?
able to- Yeah, so we're going to do that.
Before we jump into it, though, can I ask George a question?
Yeah, let's
Shoot,
yeah.
bro. Let's go.
George, you have to tell our fans and
George.
listeners who you are and how you
That was
got
good.
how you got
That was actually good.
You spoke to a lot of people
That was dope.
today.
Yes, sir.
And the last few days.
Yes, sir.
Who were some of the best people you spoke to with some of the best answers?
Okay. I spoke to T. Higgins and Jamar Chase today.
Oh, that's cool.
Together?
One after the other.
One after the
quite
other?
literally one after the other.
Yeah.
And then Warren for Steelers running back. And it was pretty good. So my questions, they're like hard-hitting, 5, like, it takes 30 seconds in and out, right?
Yeah.
One of them is about if you could have a one-on-one conversation with anyone in the world, past or present, who would it be? One of them said, I forget who it was, but one of them said Tiger Woods. Oh, sorry, that was Luke Kuechly. That was today as well. My bad.
Yeah.
Luke Kuechly, yeah. He said Tiger Woods.
Talk about a handsome man.
yeah.
He slimmed down too.
So I was
Mad
like,
slim,
he's
bro.
much
Like, his
slimmer than
neck
he
used
was.
to be the size of
Yeah,
like,
dude.
My
he's
God,
mad.
he was the best
Pretty slim
linebacker in the
now.
league, bro.
Yeah.
I got quite a few answers. I got MLK.
that's a good one.
That's a good one.
I had, who else did I have? I had one of the presidents from the past, I think Abraham Lincoln. I had bare guys.
Ooh.
Someone said, Annie
Obama.
Agar.
Yeah.
She said Jesus. Never had that one. That was cool.
That's a good one.
That was cool. And then the other question was,
Sure.
what other sporting trophy aside from the Super Bowl would you want to win?
Yeah.
I had one chess master.
Wow.
Who?
I'm trying to think who it was. It was who was it?
This is why
Damn.
you click record, so you don't have to remember. You can
Yeah,
just go
man,
back and
that's
see it
So
later.
it's on the page. But the majority of answers were World Cup, NBA Finals, and the Masters. They were the main
Yeah.
ones.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
And then the other ones were about food joints that I should hit up, being from the UK. The most popular option was In-N-Out, and I've been there twice now.
It's trash. It's
Bro,
terrible.
I'm just gonna say
It's
this, right?
terrible. It's
Uh-oh.
terrible.
Oh, boy.
No cap. See what I did there?
Yeah.
Yeah, caps off.
So
Caps on.
the first time I had it, I just ordered a double cheeseburger and fries,
Yeah.
thinking
Yeah.
it was a normal thing. The burger hit, it was alright, but the fries were dead.
Fries
Oh,
are
terrible.
The fries are
Fries were
horrible.
It's
dead.
plastic.
The fries
It's
are
plastic.
Bro, I've
It's
been
very
into this
plastic.
and thought I was eating cardboard.
Yeah.
Bro,
Right.
you're coming from fish and chips country.
Bro,
You got to get
that's what
good
I'm
chips,
saying.
man.
These fries were trash. And then my Insta blew up. I was like, what did you get? What did you get? And apparently you're supposed to get a double
animal style.
Animal style,
It's
yeah.
still,
animal
it's still
fries.
ain't it,
Just
bro.
So last night, I went back with some of my people.
Round two.
I was like, all right, cool, I'm here. Round 2. I'll have a double animal style, and I'll have a fries animal style. That came. The fries are just trash. They're
They're bad fries.
They're bad,
It's
bro.
literally
That
bad.
is
trash.
that is the biggest knock on In-N-Out.
Bro.
Their fries are just bad.
How
These
are
are
they
the
serving that
In-N-Out
stuff?
fries.
I don't get it.
These are the
Ah,
In-N-Out
okay.
You
fries.
can't be
nah.
competing with other fast food joints with them kind of fries,
I
bro.
don't understand
I'm-
the
Right?
love.
Because usually, like, it's never bad fries at a place usually. It's just, like, might be some places better than others. Like,
In-N-Out
McDonald's
has
fries,
bad
great.
McDonald's fries
In-N-Out
great.
has
In-N-Out
bad
has horrible fries.
In-N-Out, and I don't think their burger's good enough to overcome their bad fries.
No, it's not.
So
Yeah, the
yeah,
burgers,
that's bad.
they were all right. They were cool. They were cool.
It's
Solid.
average. It's just
You
average.
ever
it's
have you had
average.
Shake Shack? Is that an
We got
international?
that. We got
You
that.
haven't-
Back. Yeah, we got
that's an
that.
international thing.
That's all right. That's all right. It's cool.
I
But
like Shake
I mean,
Shack.
for the people that I've been able to speak to, like I said, Kuechly was a shock because I didn't even know he was going to be here.
Yeah, that's
but
cool.
for me, I just take my shot, man. Like, I just approach the guys and be like, look, I got real quick questions. Most time, if you ask them direct, as opposed to trying to go through their, like,
Their
PA,
mail, yeah.
you kind of hit. The advantage that I have is they hear my accent and they kind of go, what's this guy about? And some of them get thrown off and some of them are like, actually, you know what, this is different. And no one ever believes me when I tell him I literally need 30 seconds because most people around here are going to take minutes.
Yeah.
I'm that guy. I'm not about to waste no one's time.
Yep.
These guys have got to walk around this room all day long. I want 30 seconds and that's that.
Yeah.
So I had Matt Ryan today. I had Annie Agar. I had T. Higgins. I had Jalen Warren. I had Jamar Chase. I think that might be it.
They're treating
You
George.
didn't get Josh
You got
Allen,
David
did you?
Njoku, I saw.
Oh, my bad. David Njoku.
Yeah,
Appreciate
yeah.
that. David Njoku. I tried Josh Allen.
Yeah.
He was very kind.
He was
and
so nice.
politely
I watched that
declined.
exchange.
I'll tell you who I did try. Stephen A. Smith. My
Bro,
bro.
he was
Like,
so good. I was gonna ask you to
He
tell
was a
that.
bro.
dick.
All right. So I know what Stephen A. Smith. Everyone knows what he's like.
Yeah,
right?
Oh, come on, yeah.
He was literally over there by CBS and he was doing a little take and he was done. He had a big bodyguard in front of him. I was like, oh, can I just get 30 seconds? He was like, we can walk and talk. Got my phone out. He's like, no, just take a picture. I was like, all right, cool. He's like, bro. I said, I'm from London. I want to. He's like, I don't care where you're from, bro. Just take the picture. I'm trying to go to the toilet. Sorry, what, bro?
Okay.
Like,
What a
dude. Literally, the
That's
guy was in
crazy.
a bright purple suit. I'm looking at this guy thinking, you ain't ever played no damn sport in your life.
Yeah.
Hold up. Good basketball player in college.
Nope.
Is that
I'll take
true?
that back. I'll
Average
take that back.
a
I'll take
point.
that back.
Average a point and a half, and I
Is
don't know
that
how
true?
that's happened. Yeah.
Actually, you say that. I see he was getting called out about his stats and all
exactly.
this. So, like, yeah.
And his stats were wrong. And how do you average a half a point in a game?
That was it.
Oh,
That was the
okay.
thing.
All
I
right,
stand
all
on
right.
that business. I stand on that business. But I mean, you ain't got to be rude, bro. Like I know,
Yeah,
I know
facts,
you're in
facts.
demand and that, but I got
That's
the
tough,
picture.
man. You
but
hate
he
to
was
see
like,
that.
Yeah, it was horrible. It costs nothing to be kind. You know what I mean?
No, of course.
But yeah, that was cool. It's been a good day. Loads of people.
You said you walk up with the accent. They're treating you like the Make-A-Wish kid. They treat
Yeah,
you
literally.
They're like,
Oh,
you come up with the
yeah.
accent. Like, okay,
Honestly.
yeah. It's like
And
so fucked.
The thing about that is, when they hear me talk about football, if I mention anything to do, I don't know, fourth and down or single coverage or man or zone or whatever, they look
Yep.
at me and go, what the? And then I can open that door.
Yeah.
And then they go, actually, you know what? You're actually legit. And you
Yeah.
know what you're talking
No,
about.
they're all like,
well,
this guy confused the wrong football.
Yeah.
People are listening and or watching right now and don't realize that you played football for 11 years.
Yeah,
you were
yeah,
running
yeah.
back. So
Oh, yeah.
That's what I
guess.
was going to ask you, but to just quickly tell, because I didn't ask off
Yeah,
the top.
I'll do it real
Can you
quick.
do a 1-2 on who you are, how you got to where you are, what your background
I probably
is?
should have done that earlier. My
Yeah,
bad.
no,
All right,
that's
cool.
my
Nah,
fault.
It's better without it. It's better without it.
All right, so yeah, my name's George. I rep George on Sports, which is my
My
media.
guy, George.
I played
George.
American football as a running back for 11 years in the UK. Yes, it's not the NFL, but the sport's the same. The injuries are the same. The
Yep.
hits
Yeah.
are the same. The playbooks are the same. So I want to hear none of that trash.
Yeah.
Bro, he's spitting.
I played for 11 years, and then I started to cover the sport in the UK. So I covered UK American football. Yes, we do play in the UK. And then I transitioned to covering the NFL, which is what I've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
So basically, I just started making my own content, podcasts,
Yeah.
interviews. I just knock on every door, and if they say no, I bounce to the next one.
Right.
These guys said yes, and that was dope for me. I was
Hell
well
yeah.
pumped. And then it just kept going, man. And then it got to the point where
gotta get trained.
NFL UK and other outlets, they give me access to other places,
Yeah.
so long as I just keep doing my thing, to the point where I'm able to get myself out here in
unreal.
Vegas,
So
which I never
sick.
thought would have happened.
Yeah,
bro.
it's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yo, how'd you?
All right.
Congrats,
how'd
bro.
Appreciate
You
it, man.
fucking
Thank
made
you.
it.
Thank you.
We were talking off camera, and you said about like when you became a Colts fan and how you became a Colts fan. I mean, funny story, but like, I mean, now we got to tell that story. But before even that, like, how did you get into the game?
Yeah. All right. So my first sport was actually soccer for the US audience.
Yeah.
But I'm more of a contact sport guy. So I left that after a year and I started playing rugby, which
I was
How,
gonna-
old, how old
yeah.
were you?
I
I
was
need,
gonna
I need
ask.
like a
So I
reference.
started playing rugby when I was in secondary school. So that's like year 9.
Okay.
So that's like, I don't know what the convert, I don't know
Yeah,
yeah.
what the
Cool.
system is.
Yeah, sure.
You were like 14.
Yeah, that's about the right age.
Yeah.
About 14, I started playing rugby. I was a winger.
My parents are teachers. I know the years.
I started playing rugby.
Ninth grade.
And then I got to uni, which is college for you guys, with the aim of playing rugby, except they played too far from where I lived. And
Yep.
at the time, I didn't drive. So I was at a sports fair, which is like this, where you sign up to all the
Got you.
different societies. Right next to rugby was American football.
Yeah.
They had a massive TV screen. They had the cheerleaders. They had trophies. I was like, what the hell is this? I looked and saw the contact and was like, this is similar to rugby. I can do that. So
Yeah.
I just signed up. At this point, I was 18, which is really late to start playing American
Yeah.
football.
Yeah.
Really late. And I never looked back. 11 years later,
That's
I mean,
crazy.
I played 4 years of my uni or college, and then I played 5 years senior with a particular team, Kent Exiles, London Blitz, and Brighton Tsunami are the teams that I played for. So like,
London
I wish I would have
Blitz.
discovered the sport earlier.
That's
London
so
Blitz
sick.
is a
Bro,
great
I
name.
need a London
That's a great
Blitz
name.
George jersey. I don't know your last name, but I need a London Blitz George jersey. That goes crazy.
Yeah, man. And then the Colts aspect, when I started to play the game, I said to myself, I'm going to start playing the video games too. I'm a big video game guy. So when I put the game of Madden in the PlayStation, I said the first team that comes up on the loading screen is going to be my team.
That could have gone so poorly.
Yeah, trust me, it could have. It could have. I mean, technically, I've had to suffer for some years, but
Yeah.
All right, hold on.
I
I don't
did.
want to
But
fuck
you didn't get the Raiders. You didn't get the Dolphins. You know what I mean? So,
And also, what year was that? Do you remember what year that was?
bro, I must have been like 15. I don't know, at least 15 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't particularly remember what age I was, but I remember putting in the game, EA whatever loads up, and then it goes pick your team, and the logo on the screen was a horseshoe, just this weird blue horseshoe with the white dots in it. I didn't know what the hell it was, who the hell the team was. I didn't know nothing about it.
I love it.
That was
And then
my
you
team.
see that
The
fucking dude,
equestrians.
Peyton
Peyton
Manning.
Manning.
dude, yeah,
That's
man,
it.
legend.
That's it. And then we suffered for like 6 years of different QBs, but now we're blessed with Anthony Richardson. So let's go.
Well, I feel like we
Bright
should talk.
future.
We should talk a little Anthony Richardson. I know we're
Sure.
predicting things, but let's
I
do
think
a
you're
little
better
bit
off
more.
with Gardner Minshew.
Do you?
No, I'm
No, he
kidding.
doesn't. No, he doesn't.
He did good for us.
He did.
He did some good
Gardner's
stuff for
good.
us.
Gardner slept
He
on.
is. He probably.
So I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
And it's coming from right from here. He's a Colts fan as well. Condo.
up the
By the
Colts.
way, we
Condo.
did discuss this a little bit off the.
Oh, you were
off the
talking
pod.
about it,
you were
and I missed it.
schmoozing, yeah.
Fuck. Okay.
But go ahead, pitch it.
We talk very often about Anthony Richardson's ceiling, right? And I think the conversation is let's put Anthony Richardson next to Jordan Love and C.J. Stroud,
Okay.
right? Those feel like two guys that had a great year and then another guy that could have had a great year, and obviously the Colts were good. Who's got the highest ceiling out of those three quarterbacks? Anthony Richardson, Jordan Love, and C.J. Stroud. And why?
Immediately, I'm going to put Jordan Love at the bottom of that. Purely because, I'm going to put him at the bottom. Purely because I'm looking at what the other two offer in terms of being a, if you want to call it a pocket passer, out of the pocket passer, and also having the running ability, the rushing ability, which I don't necessarily feel like Jordan Love has. Even if he does, his size for me brings him down to the bottom of them three. It's kind of difficult because we haven't seen much of Anthony Richardson, although we know what he can do. We've seen enough, I'd say. C.J. Stroud is a problem.
Yeah.
He's a problem for the entire AFC South and the rest of the NFL.
Yeah.
And you pair him with a guy like DeMeco Ryans, and they're very, they're a very aggressive tandem. And he's clearly gifted. He's poised, he's calculated, he knows exactly what to do in different positions in the game. So it's tough. I mean, I want to kind of put AR number one, but I haven't seen it all. I'm going to still put him number one anyway.
Yeah, that's your guy.
Come on now.
No bias detected.
Come on now. No
Welcome to
bias.
Caps
I get it.
Off.
I get it.
Welcome
I
to
get
Caps
it.
Off,
Just
where we
that was
have
a question.
purely
No
objective
cap, no
takes.
cap. I mean, come on now. He's a unicorn, bro. Like, he was at the combine.
So is Jamarcus Russell, bro.
True. But if you look at for what we've seen from Anthony Richardson, right? People were doubting his arm strength, and he can't be accurate. He played 14 games in college or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Chuck all that out the window, man. Yes, he didn't last all 3 games. And to be fair, he's come out and said one of them was a freak injury, one of them someone stood on his foot, and the last one, all right, he got dinged up because he was trying to jog into the end zone. He weren't necessarily protecting himself.
Yeah.
And when he landed on his shoulder, that could have been anyone. Like, the media having a frenzy going, he made a glass, he can't last. No, he's been unlucky, right? We got one of the best top 5 O-lines in the league, top 5, top 7 if you like. Yes, we need to add some weapons for him.
Yep.
But I feel like his ceiling is the most out of those 3, purely because he is a dangerous man when you pair him with a guy like Shane Steichen, who's used to guys who
I
can
agree.
be
I
mobile
love Shane
like that.
Steichen.
And then you add JT in the backfield, pick your poison, bro.
Yeah.
Yo, producer Condo getting so hype in the back right now.
He's got goosebumps. He said goosebumps.
Yeah, I mean,
That's funny as
Yeah, I
fuck.
don't hate it. I don't hate it.
So you're saying Anthony Richardson 1,
I put
CJ.
1, Anthony Richardson 1, CJ Stroud 2, Jordan Love 3. No shade on Jordan Love. Clearly, he made it. I mean, technically, they should have won that game against the 49ers, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They had that game won. Jordan Love and the rest of that squad, they got a good thing going. The youngest team in the league, they're all growing together. They come in together. Their defense is
look
questionable, and they do look good. But, AR1, CJ 2, Jordan Love 3.
He gave a good breakdown
Yeah,
for
no,
it. I mean,
I'm not
it's
gonna
I
like-
argue.
respect the breakdown.
I will say I'm
I
happy
also
for whoever's. I'm
respectfully
also just
disagree.
happy for whoever's listening because he's so like the British accent is
It's so smooth,
enjoyable
bro. It's
to
so
listen
smooth.
It
to.
is very
You know what I was
smooth.
thinking
It's like a
about
palate
while you were,
cleanser. It's
you know
like
what I was
getting
thinking about
ginger
while you
or
were
lemon.
talking? You're like those kids in for us. It's like the Americans that like Premier League who can can legitimately talk about
Yeah,
it, like
yeah,
fucking
a lot of them,
Steph,
yeah.
who like actually know what the fuck they're talking about. It's
I've
very
not met-
unique. It doesn't happen very often.
I've not met any American who knows the
Premier League?
but they're not going to technically because
Yeah,
Well,
they've got all
our
the
buddy,
other
one of our former coworkers, Steph, really knows.
It's regional, right? So like in New York, it's a lot more of a melting pot. So like soccer, as we say here, is way bigger there. So like they're way into like the Premier League and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of people love that's their favorite sport. I have
I have some
good
buddies
friend that I
who's
lived with for like 2 years.
huge.
Well, that's his favorite thing.
Damn.
He watches like every
that.
Man City game, all that.
I
I
gotta
can't talk
yeah.
about Man City.
Same. My sister's boyfriend is a massive Premier League guy.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So I think
they
it's
exist.
more
They exist.
regional.
They exist,
They
but
exist.
they're not few and far between. I would assume that's the same with Brits who like American football.
Bro,
Yeah, is it?
pe-
Yeah. How is
Look,
it?
yeah, people don't understand that the game of American football is big in the UK.
Yeah.
It's big.
Yeah.
It's just because we don't have a league like the NFL. Of course we do.
Of
We've
course
got a
not.
domestic league. That's cool. But the actual interest in the sport, I mean, if you look at the London games, right, we get 3 games
Yeah.
every year.
Yeah.
1 at Wembley, 2 at Tottenham. We used to have 4 pre-COVID. And since they've started these games, sell out every single year.
Yeah.
Every single year. People were talking about the games last year, which I was at, saying that there wasn't enough interest because the prices were up and down.
Yeah.
There weren't a seat available. They
Yeah.
flew out like hotcakes. Like the demand for the sport is so it's so high, and people just don't understand.
Yeah, it's interesting because like obviously we have those games in
Yeah.
London every year, but I always, and I think probably I'm not alone in thinking this as an American. I always just is like, is there actually a market for NFL
Yeah.
football in
Absolutely.
the UK, let
In
alone Europe at all?
Yeah, bro.
Clearly there is, right?
I mean, if you think back to NFL Europe,
Yeah.
it's a big deal. Like there
Yeah.
are guys in the NFL, like Sean Payton used to play in London,
Yeah.
as part of one of the teams. Like you've got the history with the London Monarchs, the London Ravens. These teams hold weight. Like they were great teams.
Let me ask you something because
Yeah.
I've heard this is like I've only heard like people mention it before. What would you think of the NFL adding a division in Europe?
Yeah, nah.
I agree,
So
but I
get
wanna
this.
hear-
Roger Goodell,
The logistics are crazy.
bro, I
They're
keep
not gonna
saying
do it, I don't
No,
think,
Roger
but-
Goodell keeps getting asked the questions, and he'll be like, "Yeah, we're looking into it." He's just telling you, like, ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
Let it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say I don't want it. If it was to happen
It'd be awesome.
logistically and work well, and not having hindrance to the rest of the league, and not
Yeah.
have red tape issues and operational issues and logistic issues, like you said, then
Yeah.
cool. It's never gonna work, man.
yeah,
It
leaving the
can't work.
country a few times
That's
a
what I'm
year.
saying.
Imagine the Seahawks making that.
No.
Oh,
I also
yeah.
think,
No.
and I think we're
Or the
talking about it, it
Rams.
would water down the product
It would,
a little
it
bit
would,
for
it
the
would.
international market. And
It
I think
would.
what the draw internationally for someone like yourself who's so invested in the space, if you have more teams overseas, now you're maybe not as inclined to follow a team in the U.S., right?
Yeah,
So that
I get
division
that.
now so the product becomes a little watered down.
Yeah.
And I think what makes the NFL unique is that it is here, but that there is such a large market in these
Yeah.
other countries, like specific teams, and like London is obviously the Jags,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
England's the Jags, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
or
Is it?
Yeah, so basically,
that's why they play there.
I know,
was
but
gonna
I'm
say,
just saying,
like,
like, I know
there
the NFL sends that in there, but is that true? Would you say, like, most fan?
No, it's not
the
true in the
biggest fan
sense that, I
base
mean,
there?
if you're new to the sport, most people might pick up the Jags because they're the most linked to the UK.
Yeah.
I mean, their owner owns a football club, Fulham FC.
Yeah.
They were actually talking about buying the club, buying Wembley Stadium, which
Yeah.
then brought up the rumor of, are they going to move the Jags
Yeah.
over? And at the time,
That'd be fucking
it seemed
nuts.
like the Jacksonville didn't even want the Jags.
Yeah.
So it was like, all right, we're going to have that team. And don't get me wrong, if it happened and it worked, it would do so many good things for the UK in terms of jobs, marketing, it would. But
Yeah, opportunities.
there is no way on earth that it works logistically. It doesn't work.
I agree with you.
Keep it as the Jags being the UK's team in terms of make it 3 games. They played 2 games back to back for the first time and won both of them.
Yeah.
They seem to be, acclimatizing to this whole London thing.
Yeah.
And it's working.
Yeah.
Keep it that way. We don't need a franchise over here. It ain't gonna
Yeah.
work.
I
Let
agree.
alone a division.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
crazy.
exactly. It ain't gonna work. Ain't
That'd be
gonna
Bro,
work.
it's,
Crazy.
it's crazy the type of pull, I guess, that the NFL is having just
Yeah.
across the world. Like, I mean, you hear him talk
They're
about
going
it.
to Brazil.
That's dope. Yeah.
Yeah.
First game next year.
Eagles, yeah.
The Eagles gonna be in Brazil.
And
It's
the Miami
Really?
Dolphins,
Yeah.
the Miami Dolphins. So
Real?
you know about the home teams, right?
It's Brazil.
It's Brazil.
Yeah, the
And
Dolphins.
the time zone, I think, is the same, if
Yeah.
not 1 or 2 hours, which is
Yeah.
why they do it. Sao Paulo, the Corinthians Stadium, I believe it is.
Yeah.
And on that note, the UK has 6 home teams: the Jags, the Jets, the 49ers, the Bears, the Vikings, and one more. I forget who. Not Miami Dolphins. Who's the last team? I can't remember. But there are 6 teams, and what it means is these teams now have the right to further market in the
Yes,
UK,
yes.
which means more fan activation. So I've done a lot of work with the Vikings in the UK.
Yep.
Alexander Mattison came over last year. I get first dibs on an interview,
That's
which is
sick.
pretty dope. Anything that kind of happens, I'll get first dibs at. But it means that they're trying to. I feel like this is their way of saying you're not going to get a team, but we're going to give you more opportunities to get involved in the sport.
Totally.
Well, how do those teams get picked though?
I'm not too sure.
Oh,
So,
okay.
for example, the Kansas City Chiefs, their home team is in Germany. So when I went to Germany to watch the Miami Dolphins, and it was a sea of red. It was the Dolphins had no chance. It was just everyone.
They
was
don't.
We had a
They
chance.
never have a chance in anything. To be
No,
honest.
we had a chance.
Actually, if they didn't fumble the last snap, who knows what would have happened?
There were a lot of mistakes. We had a chance.
Yeah.
We had a fucking damn good chance.
Yeah.
I think it's market share, though, also. I think, like, there's
Yes.
market research of where the concentration of fans are within that specific country or city or whatever you want to call it. Like,
Yeah.
there's always – because I think that's what it is with Brazil and the Dolphins. Like, specifically,
Right.
they have such a high
What's the
concentration.
Brazilian Dolphins?
The Dolphins, like, Brazil is the Dolphins and Brazil have a little, from a market
Yeah.
share standpoint, like, deal going where they could do more
That's
fan
right.
activations.
So
and
why are
whatnot.
the Eagles going there for week 1?
They've still got a pick, and it's 'cause obviously, yeah. So you got to have, like, the UK having 6 teams just means they can market more, but they've allocated. I think the Saints are maybe someone's got Japan, for example, one
Yeah.
of these, which means that they're going to play a game in them countries at some point. But it just means that they can do more marketing, and technically Brazil now, their NFL team, if you like, is the Miami Dolphins. Does that mean they've got to support them?
Weird.
Because actually, if you check it up, the most popular team in Brazil is the Green Bay Packers.
True.
Yeah.
Why is that?
I couldn't tell you. I literally couldn't tell
Aaron
you. I
Rodgers,
don't know.
man.
Aaron
I'll-
Rodgers,
I'll-
Green Bay.
I'll tell you
Green
this
Bay.
though, the Miami thing makes sense. So I'm Brazilian. I don't know if you knew this.
I didn't know that, no.
Yeah. So I was born in Brazil. Whole family's in Brazil.
Oh, that's dope.
And
Congrats, bro.
yeah, thanks, bro. I really needed that actually.
Hey, what happens in Vegas, bro?
But Miami's like half Brazilian, bro.
There we
Like
go.
and
Oh, okay.
there's so many Brazilians in Miami. It's insane. You hear Portuguese everywhere. So that kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Which made me think maybe that would be. I thought maybe it was going to be announced as Miami being the first team, but they traveled last season, so they probably won't
Yeah.
travel again.
Yeah.
I got it.
Should we predict?
Yes.
Let's
I-
talk about this.
Yeah,
We can go on and on.
I want to talk to you forever, George, just about England and Britain and British people and fish and
We
chips
got
and
big
Harry
games to talk
Potter.
about.
But
Big.
there is a very big game happening on Sunday, the Super Bowl. Let's pick something. What kind of picks do we want to pick? Player
Picks
props.
do we want to pick?
What would you say would be? We're looking at FanDuel here. I can pull up any odds you want.
Carl Juszczyk to score a touchdown.
Oh,
Why?
the full FB dive.
Listen, Carl Juszczyk, right, there's been a lot of talk about the role of the fullback. Some teams diminish it, some teams
Yeah.
live by it. I don't know if you remember the last game that the 49ers played, but Brock Purdy and Carl Juszczyk had something going on where Brock Purdy
it over the middle,
scrambled,
yeah.
and they had a discussion about Carl Juszczyk was shocked to see that he even found him. But if you think back, right,
I gotta pull up
the
props.
focus is so much on guys like Deebo Samuel,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brandon Ayuk,
George Kittle.
Christian McCaffrey.
Christian McCaffrey, the Swiss Army knives, right? And people tend to forget about I'll go as far as saying Carl Juszczyk is his own Swiss Army knife because he can
He
run the ball,
absolutely
he can
is.
catch the ball.
Block.
And when it comes to these kind of games, there's always something special, be it the Philly or whatever else you want to call it. Carl Juszczyk is that kind of guy who can leak out the backfield, can take a fullback run into the end zone.
Yep.
And those are the kind of players that win you games. So I feel like Carl Juszczyk is going to go well under the radar. In fact, I might put a bet on myself
That's nice.
and go for Carl Juszczyk to get a
Kyle
touchdown.
Juszczyk is plus 900 on FanDuel.
I love
right now
that.
to
That's
score a
good odds.
touchdown.
Trust me, he's that guy.
I love that.
Juice,
Like that.
baby.
There's a
I
few
love
juice.
that.
Juice on the juice.
Juice on the juice. You got to juice the juice.
I
There's
love
a
that.
few. There's a few on there that you could sprinkle on. Like if you want long shot odds.
Yeah.
Justin Watson's another guy.
Okay.
Like plus 650. I think he's been getting more playing time. I like the Kyle Juszczyk, but okay, Kadarius Toney again. Like they said,
Dude, I
he's going
saw-
to play.
Is he
Ocho
okay?
Cinco
Is he
said
not in the
yesterday.
doghouse?
Ocho Cinco
Yeah.
said yesterday he's the first touchdown.
He's gonna
That was
play.
his bet. He was
Could
like,
you
did it
imagine
last-
he's the
last
first
year.
fumble?
oh,
The first fumble.
I don't know if you can bet that, but
Yeah,
I
probably
would.
can't, but
If you
I
could
mean,
bet that, that'd be
first
sick.
drop.
Like I'm
Just
not saying I
first
want it,
drop.
but Kadarius Toney at plus 950.
I mean,
Or even, and now this isn't CMC's not going to come out, but we saw what happened last week or 2 weeks ago. Elijah Mitchell came in
Oh,
because
yeah.
CMC missed one fucking snap and
Yeah,
he scored.
yeah.
Plus 1100.
Nah, I like Juice because not only can he run the ball, like you said, he's a Swiss
He can
Army knife
catch.
himself. He gets active in the receiving game
he
too.
does, man. He does.
And
he's like,
I was so surprised to see that toe tap when he made that toe tap
Oh,
catch.
that
I
was
like,
he's a
I'm like,
baller.
bro,
That was a
it's
pretty
like
play.
he is a
baller.
baller. He's not your typical fullback. He's not your
Yeah.
just get up in your face and ball rush.
Yeah.
He can actually ball.
Yeah.
And they can use
Can.
him as another weapon.
You can. You got a player prop in mind that you are liking?
shit, man. Let me think.
We had Kurt on, and what did you know what Kurt said? Kurt was talking about, he had a few in there, but he
Yeah.
had Isaiah Pacheco over 2.5 receptions.
Okay.
He says
I
he
like
doesn't
that.
trust any pass catchers on the Chiefs because it could just go, it's Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce,
gonna
but it
say,
could
yeah.
go any which way.
Yeah.
But Isaiah Pacheco, 2.5 is
2.5 is low.
it's right there.
Yeah.
for a
Yeah,
reason.
yeah,
It's right there for a
I
reason.
like the Niners receivers to go over on whatever yards they
Deep-
have most likely,
yards.
just because. And I like receptions too, but just because I think the Chiefs are going to win this game, and I think the Niners they started off slow the past couple weeks,
They
and
have.
I think like we just talked about, was it with him too, right?
Yeah, with Kurt,
With
yeah.
Kurt. that they didn't come ready to play. They almost thought obviously we're the better team and we don't have to. But
sleep.
this game
Don't
they're
sleep.
going to come ready to
They
play.
slept.
They did
Yeah.
sleep.
Yeah.
This game they're going to
They
come ready
didn't
to play. But even still, if there's any chance that they fall behind early, they're going to have to throw the ball, and I think the receivers get active. So whether you want to throw it on Debo or Brandon Ayuk, I like Ayuk actually. I think I would go Ayuk receiving yards over.
Oh my God, bro! These apps right now are crazy because of the Super Bowl. They're added so many different.
There's always something crazy.
Okay.
It's insane. I do like. I mean, I like what Kurt said. I like his explanation for it. He was talking. He had George Kittle over 3.5 receptions, Debo over 4.5 receptions.
Yeah.
The Pacheco one, and I forgot what the other. He had another one in there. I forgot what it was. But
I have one.
you got one?
Any player to score two or more touchdowns on FanDuel. Any player to score 2 or more touchdowns. I'll bring some research that I saw.
Okay.
Can't remember where I saw it, but I saw it on TikTok. I cannot credit, unfortunately, but I saw that in 6 of the last 7 Super Bowls, there has been a player to score 2 touchdowns.
Interesting.
I like it.
Okay, where's this? Is it a special?
Who was it last year?
On
Jalen Hurts did, I
FanDuel,
think.
under TD props, there's a play. Any player to score 2
What are
plus
the odds?
touchdowns.
What are the odds?
Minus 185 for yes.
Okay, not
Really?
at all what I thought.
Yes, sir.
That is literally
Oh, I
not at
thought it
all.
would be plus money.
Because
was gonna
6 of the
say, yeah.
last 7, it has hit. It's happened.
Yeah, but that just seems like it seems harder than that.
All right, so then
Yeah.
let's juice it.
Let's
No,
go
Plus
games.
500, any player to score 3 plus.
Nah, that
Oh,
ain't
that ain't
happening.
happening.
That ain't happening.
That is not happening. I mean, you say that, you can never say never, man.
Christian McCaffrey, crazier things have happened.
Yeah.
I know that
McCaffrey would be the guy. McCaffrey would be
Kelsey,
the guy to
by
get
the way,
to.
only needs 2 touchdowns to be the most,
Wow.
I think, to most postseason touchdowns.
Really?
in
Who currently leads
NFL.
that?
He's, I think Jerry Rice by
So
2
he just broke the other record the other day, right?
Yeah, he
in
did.
receptions.
Receptions, yeah, it's crazy.
If I
Dude,
remember correctly, Kelsey needs 2 to tie maybe.
I got a game special.
Most touchdowns.
I
in
got a
That's
game
impressive.
special.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
CMC, Debo, and Travis Kelce to combine for 4+ TDs.
Ooh,
Say it again?
CMC.
CMC, Debo, and Travis Kelce to
So
combine
one
for
of
4.
those
One of
guys
those guys
to
gotta
score
have 2.
twice.
Yeah. So
Plus,
I mean, if anybody's won
550.
2, it's one of those guys,
Plus
probably.
550 is not enough.
Christian
it's not.
McCaffrey, man.
Dude, for some reason, any player to score 2 plus you're right, it's not juiced enough.
No, it's not.
Because it's going to happen. And that's why I like it. And we're here to make some fucking money. So fucking hit that shit.
Yeah,
and
I
you-
see it. No, I see it, bro.
All right, you want to talk about the longest game specials
it.
then here?
Yeah, what's the long shot?
You want to guess what the longest one is?
For what?
For a game special
Fucking
for the
Kyle
Super Bowl.
Juszczyk to score 8 touchdowns.
2 safeties or something.
No, two pick sixes.
No
Each team never
touchdown
picked-
in the game.
No touchdown. Ooh.
How much
Plus
is that?
30,000.
Wow.
Then you got a few
Why would
ti- a
anyone
few-
want to root for that?
Well,
You
I
wouldn't.
mean, you want to make that money though, but
Yeah.
ain't gonna happen.
Another one, Debo to score the first touchdown and Brandon Ayuk to score the last touchdown.
That's
I mean,
interesting.
Not,
Like,
yeah, that's not. That's
kinda funny, bro.
Yeah,
Plus
Right.
right.
So
11,000.
particular.
Yeah,
Plus
isn't it?
11,000.
You know what FanDuel does a lot?
What?
Can you check what the odds are on this for each team to score a touchdown and a field goal
Yeah.
in both halves?
Plus 2,600.
I
See, that's
I like
I
juicy.
took
those.
that last
That's-
game. I
that's
took that,
juicy.
I took that
I
in the
like
AFC
that.
chip.
And it hit, right?
I
It
like
didn't hit
those
and
because
miss.
it's not that. It doesn't seem that hard.
No, it
But it
doesn't.
is.
Touchdown
It's
and
harder.
field goal?
I've only taken it once or twice, and it's harder than you
Wait,
think.
but both teams have to do it.
Have to-
in each
a
half?
touchdown
It's gotta be
and a
10
field goal in
10-10
each
-ish.
half.
It's got to be 10-10 essentially in both
Yeah,
halves. That's
yeah.
it.
Yeah, when you think about that, that's not difficult.
It's not
to
that
do.
bad.
Doesn't seem like it
But
is.
when you're watching a game and it's not panning out, you're thinking, "Come on, man, what's going on? Get them touchdowns."
It
Two
is
field
fun. I
goals,
like
two
that one. I
touchdowns
liked that one.
in each
Well,
half.
let's talk about the actual game though. Let's talk about not in terms of like who we think is going to win. I saw this and we started talking about it a little bit, and I want to bring it back because I want to ask George. I saw a ranking of if either team won, who this Super Bowl would be the most important for.
Oh,
Oh wow.
So I want to ask
J-Mo?
you. It was J-Mo's. Yeah.
Shout out J-Mo.
Shout out J-Mo. Who
Okay.
from both team?
like what
Pick
player?
2 people. To pick. It could be a player or a coach. Doesn't matter. Andy Reid, obviously Kyle Shanahan. But pick 2 people from each team. If either team wins, who would it mean more to and why to win a Super Bowl?
Firstly, going straight to the 49ers, I think Purdy's got to be in there.
Yeah.
I know it's the cop-out, but I don't know anyone who gets picked last in the draft and
Yeah.
receives a call from John Lynch himself and tells them on the phone, I know you're the irrelevant pick, but you're going to be very relevant. And in his second season, he's now in the Super Bowl.
Uh-huh.
You've gone from Mr. Irrelevant to Mr. Relevant
Yep.
in less than 3 seasons in the NFL.
Totally.
Who knows what would have happened if he didn't sustain that injury against the Eagles? But that's what you get for lining up a rookie tight end against
Yep.
a monster rusher on the edge. But I think Purdy, just because of what it all stands for,
Yeah.
what he's about to do if they do go on and win this,
Yeah.
like you win this game, it's potentially a debate in terms of, all right, if he wins the Super Bowl, does he mean he's that guy?
Yeah.
Is he that guy? Do you not look elsewhere anymore? Because I've seen some things about if he doesn't win, you've got to start looking elsewhere. Not too sure how I feel about that. You know, people talk about Shanahan's
That's
system.
so stupid.
I mean,
the
that's
guy
what I'm
just
saying,
put up
like,
MVP-like numbers.
Exactly.
You're not gonna get
exactly. And
better.
they compare to what he's done to like the likes of Brady. Brady wasn't,
Yeah.
Everyone has their own thing they got going.
Totally,
for them.
totally.
Brock Purdy for sure. On the other side of the ball, if we look at Kansas, obviously you could easily. I mean, for the Kansas City Chiefs, right? Whether people like it or not, they've become that team that people now hate.
Yes,
Purely because
they're the villains.
Yeah,
100%,
they are.
100%.
And one part of me is like, yeah, fuck them. But the other part of me is like, look, you can't hate on them because they're so good.
Yeah.
The combination of
That was what Mahomes said. Mahomes was like, I'm
Yeah.
fine with them hating me because I just keep
Exactly.
winning.
Like,
Totally.
I mean, this is the NFL. You want to win. Simple as that. If your
Yeah.
franchise can't get it done, tough. If you're a Kansas City fan, you're loving life right
Yeah.
now. You got the mix of Andy Reid, who, by the way, may or may not hang up the cleats or the coaching hat after
Yeah,
this is
yeah,
done.
yeah, yeah.
Who knows? Same thing goes for Kelsey, whether he's done or not. But them three, or maybe four if you want to add in Pacheco, they got something going, clearly. And no matter what they do, no matter how many times I personally count them down and out, no matter how many passes they drop, they seem to always find different ways to win, right?
100%.
So this is the dynasty. This
Yes.
is them chasing that dynasty.
Yeah.
Yes.
So for me, as weird as it sounds, because they've won two already.
Yeah.
If they win this game, it goes a long way in terms of chasing that. Because
Yes.
if you look
Yeah.
at the length, when we're going to, I am going to mention Tom Brady. If you look at the stats, if he wins this game, he's ahead in terms of chasing that
Yes.
6 or 7 wins that Brady has.
Yeah.
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 You lose the game, and I think it's a bit of a reset, slightly, because I feel like it's more likely that Andy Reid goes, more likely that Kelsey goes. Then I'm a doubt him even more.
Yeah.
There's a few guys, man. I'm trying to think. So definitely the quarterbacks for sure. The coaches, I mean,
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like the two biggest ones is similar to what you said with Brock and Mahomes. Obviously, we
Yeah.
know that with the quarterback's the most important position, but also their coaches. Like Kyle Shanahan, in order to be solidified as
Yeah.
one of the guys
Yeah.
in the NFL from a play calling standpoint, we always talk about Kyle Shanahan,
Yeah.
but you need a Super Bowl to solidify that.
you look at their stats, right? You look at some of these coaches in the NFL, and you bring up their Wikipedia if you want, and you can see all the accolades. Kyle Shanahan's got to be feeling a type of way right now.
Totally.
He has nothing on there. I think he was nominated for Coach of the Year or whatever it was. But the guy's got nothing to his name, yet you mentioned it. When we talk about the NFL and talk about change and talk about systems, Kyle Shanahan is the guy that everyone want to use their playbook.
Yeah,
They want
yeah.
to form plays off of that. But he's got nothing to go by. So for him to not win again and again and again is a bit of an issue.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's quite a big issue. So you're right, for sure. And then obviously you look on the other side as well
Andy Reid.
with Andy Reid, who I love the guy, man. You look at him and you think, forgetting about the hamburgers and all that kind of trash,
Yeah.
allowing the guys to make up whatever plays, but he's got to be one of the most chill head coaches and yet gets the most out of his team.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, it's
So
insane.
much.
He's
I don't
so
know.
likable. It seems
Yeah,
like
that's it. He's a guy kind of like
He's
Dan Campbell.
relaxed.
Everyone loves Dan Campbell right now. Like, they kind of broke the nation's heart when they didn't win. But
Yep.
Yeah, but the difference though with Dan Campbell is like Dan Campbell's he's a screamer.
yeah,
like,
He's a man.
I'm a bite
He's
your
like,
knees
a
off.
fucking- we're gonna
Yeah,
fucking-
literally.
Andy
Yeah.
Reid's like your
Andy
your
Reid is like,
grandfather.
Let's go kick that son of
That's
a
what I'm
buck's
saying.
ass.
He's
Yeah.
chilling with a cigar, just sitting down with the tash, like
Yeah.
got bogus coming out and
He's
drying
moving
in the
slow.
cold.
Yeah.
Like,
He's like a grandfather.
He's adorable. He's adorable.
So cute.
He's adorable.
Yeah.
All right, so who do you got in the Super Bowl then, George?
oh man.
This
Okay,
is the-
so like put it this way, right? I got a show with Jason Bell and some people in the UK, and we do it throughout the season. And this, of all seasons, like I said, is a season where I doubted the Chiefs heavily.
Yeah.
For all their mistakes and all their issues that they were going through, and they've absolutely kicked me in the teeth because they've made it to the
Yes,
Super Bowl once
definitely.
again. I've learnt my lesson. I've been burnt time and time again.
Yep.
I don't think I will ever, so long as Andy Reid, Travis Kelsey, and Patrick Mahomes are Kansas City Chiefs, I will never ever go against them because they find ways to win.
Totally.
Yeah.
And for me, it's a case of no matter what happens, they know how to do it. They've
Yeah.
been there before. They've got the experience. And at the end of the day, they both got good defenses. Steve Spagnuolo deserves a huge shout
Massive.
out
Oh, my
because
God, yeah.
they always find that defense. It's not about how you start, right? It's about how you finish.
Yep.
And they might have started poorly, but they've definitely ramped it up.
They adapt.
And they
adapt.
adapt, they mold, right? But then I look at the quarterbacks.
Yep.
And that they're going to be who wins the game. They say
Difference maker.
defense wins championships, but them quarterbacks, if I'm going to trust one of them, it's always going to be Patrick Mahomes.
Always.
Of course.
So
Yeah.
I mean, no shade to the 49ers. They're a
Dude,
great squad.
You're
And-
fitting in right.
Yeah.
You're fitting right into this Caps Off podcast. That's
We all agree
that's what we
exactly
all
with everything
say.
you say.
Yeah, I think it's got to be the Chiefs. We all are on it. We
Yeah.
talked about it today, but I'm kind of curious now that I'm thinking about it. Like,
before this is our predictions episode, I need you to lock in your pick.
I'm locking in the Chiefs. Sorry.
What is your pick? Is the Chiefs?
My pick has been the Kansas City Chiefs for the exact same logic that George said. I have been burned time and time again. I've talked shit about this Chiefs
you
team.
guys need to come together on that.
I will apologize for all these slanderous words. I know Pat's asked for it.
Yep.
I will never bet against that man up there that we're staring at.
The man upstairs.
The man upstairs. I will take
Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs because, and I think we said it with Kurt, if that game stays close in that fourth quarter, I will tell you with all my fucking might, with every ounce of pennies in my fucking bank account, which is not a lot, that Chiefs team is winning the game.
I agree.
Yeah.
So I got the Chiefs.
Felipe, lock in your pick, bro. What you got?
I'm probably the least confident. Me and you were the ones saying all year the Chiefs are gonna be just fine in the playoffs.
Yes,
they're gonna be just fine. I don't care how they're looking right now. At the playoffs, the same teams come to play. Patrick Mahomes comes to play. Andy Reid.
It comes down to winners win.
That's it.
Right?
Right?
And that's
right?
the Tom Brady mentality of like the same shit. What you were saying of like we've learned that as long as this is the trifecta, this is kind of the mold, the base of what we have.
Right.
You cannot bet against
Ever.
it. And I feel like we saw that with Brady time after time. It was like, this is the year they're going to lose, right?
Yeah.
The Patriots are going to lose.
Had to be.
But that just doesn't happen. And I feel like I'm having deja vu with this Chiefs team.
I mean,
to get past the Bills, to get past the Ravens, you're talking about two teams that were not only hot coming into the playoffs, they were damn good teams. And the Ravens,
were loaded. They were loaded.
The Ravens were loaded. And so for them to do that, with that being said, though, I'm not as confident as you are with the Chiefs. I think it's going to be a very tough game.
Yes.
I hope so.
Well, I'm not saying, I think it's going to be a
for
tough
the sake
game.
of our entertainment, I hope that.
But I do.
I almost like
the Chiefs here.
I want to lean Niners, but me being a Pat Mahomes truther,
A ball knower.
and being a ball knower, and just being on this Chiefs, I love watching greatness, and you know, like I always make this comparison, but you hear people who are older than us, like 20 years older than us, talk about what it was like watching Michael Jordan.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I don't think we've had an athlete like that until now, Patrick Mahomes. And I like witnessing it. I want to tell my kids about this shit.
Yeah, we talk about
so
that.
for Patrick Mahomes and for the Chiefs, for this legacy to continue, I want the Chiefs to win. So I'm going to roll with the Chiefs. And I think it's not just because I want them to. I think they legitimately can.
Yeah.
They got the best player in this game by far. Like, as great as Christian McCaffrey is, as great as guys like Nick Bosa, nobody's affecting the game like Patrick Mahomes is, right? Like, and nobody ever has outside of Tom Brady. And so I'm going to roll with the Chiefs.
What's it going to take for the 49ers? Is it going to be Kyle Shanahan out coaching Andy Reid? Can you do that?
That ain't going to happen.
What is it going to take for them to get them over the line? Because
They might need to get lucky. But
I
also,
don't think it's luck.
but it's
They're
not
the
lucky.
better team. They're the better team.
They are the better team, right? But it's also about like what Chiefs are we seeing on Sunday? Because you're right. We knew they would turn it on in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Can they keep that on? Can they keep that switch activated? Right? Like that they flipped the switch in the playoffs. They need to keep it
I think
on.
they will
keep it
because
hot.
they already did it against two teams that were very formidable, and they did it against the Ravens, who smoked the Niners, right? And so
That game was mad.
Well, I think
If we're basing what the outcome of this game is going to be based on the last couple playoff games, the Chiefs should win this game.
Yeah, but here's also a difference.
The Niners haven't been
the
playing
Ravens, if they stick to if they keep on running the way they did in that first quarter, they win that game hands down. The Niners have a far better ground game. Oh, well, the Ravens obviously were one of the best, but we have Christian McCaffrey back there. It's not Gus Edwards.
Yeah.
But I will say, to your point of like what's it going to take, there's a part of me that thinks that they got to get Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel the ball and George Kittle the ball. Like, you got to get your skill position
George on
players
Sports
the ball and then allow Christian McCaffrey to be Christian McCaffrey. You can't just rely on Christian McCaffrey. Like, you have two game changers in Deebo and Brandon Ayuk. You got to get them a ball. So I think if that offense, which is going to flow through CMC, I think if it can flow through not just CMC, but obviously Deebo and Ayuk, and they can get going early, then I think they could win this game. But I think if they just stick to the ground, the way it kind of felt like they did against the Lions, like early on, right, and they couldn't do anything, then I think it's going to be trouble.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, the Niners need to get out ahead and get out by a lot, in my opinion, for them to win this game. Because the Chiefs, as long as they're in the game, they're a risk to just take it from them. And they did it before. The Chiefs-Niners, last time they won the Super Bowl, Chiefs down by 10, I think.
Yeah.
Came back and won. They were down by 10 in the second half.
Don't let it be close.
Came back and won. So I think for the Niners to win this game, they got to get up early and we've seen how they've come out in the past couple weeks. I don't know if it's a trend. I don't know if it'll happen again. But if that does happen, Mahomes isn't giving up a lead like Jared Goff did. You know what I mean? Or like Jordan Love.
I agree.
What's everybody's score prediction for this Super Bowl?
I don't know how to do that.
That's tough.
No,
I'm
come on.
going to give it to you because I gave it to somebody, and I thought it was really good when I answered this question. I was like, oh, it actually made sense. I'm going to go.
Here we go.
I had it confident, too. I'm going to go 24-20 Chiefs.
That was almost close to mine.
That's
I'm going by a field goal.
Oh.
Chiefs. I'm going 24-21.
Okay.
Well,
I think the
47,
Chiefs
over under 47 and
I
a
think
half.
the Chiefs
Okay.
win by 10.
By 10. All right.
I think the Chiefs are in a better spot right
I can
now.
see it. Now that you say that, I'm
Like,
starting
I just think the Chiefs-
My mind is going, to cut you off, bro. My mind is going, Brock Purdy's going to start to struggle under pressure, make some silly mistakes, and before you know it.
Well,
I think Purdy will play fine.
Well, who do we? No. Who do we have on that said the learning? Talked about the learning curve within the Super Bowl. We were talking with someone.
A learning curve during the Super Bowl?
Like we were saying, Patrick Mahomes does not have the learning curve because he's
No,
been in Super Bowl. He's
you're
Patrick
right.
Mahomes. Brock Purdy has the learning curve of understanding
Dude,
these lights
Patrick
and the
Mahomes
moment.
has a fucking Super Bowl week routine because he's been in the Super Bowl so many goddamn
crazy.
times. He has a routine.
He's used
He was
to it.
talking about that the other day, this week. I think somebody asked him, like, what? He's like, yeah, I got my plans already set. I've been doing
Yeah.
this a bunch of times.
That's crazy.
I think the Chiefs win.
Oh, bro, like.
31-20.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
31-21 is what I was. I was 31-20. I like
I'll be
it.
honest, I have no idea. I
I
actually
think
bet
they're
no
gonna win by
touchdowns
10
in the
plus.
game, so it's going to be 0-0.
0-0 at plus 30,000.
Could you imagine that? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I'm going to say 31-20. That's a
Wait,
good
but
one.
is that bet even somebody?
No,
has to-
3-0.
Oh, you can win 3.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to go
It's just no
34-20.
touchdowns.
Yeah,
I'm going to go 34-20. I see 34.
34-20.
Uh-huh.
Blowout.
Wow.
Oh,
That's
I'll
crazy,
be honest.
bro.
If
That's
they
a
come
big-
out there and
I
win,
just
I'll
got to
suck
swing
Patrick
for the
Mahomes'
fences,
dick.
bro.
If they come out and win by 2 touchdowns, I would literally, I'll pull a Drake.
Nah, chill out. Stop.
Drake.
You don't want to
It's
see it.
in the podcast.
You don't want to
Stop.
see it. There's not much to see.
Stop.
I'm
But
just
you
saying.
have to.
But you
Jesus
just
Christ, bro.
I mean,
All right.
yeah, man.
We need Jesus.
We do got to We're Jewish. We do got to wrap up here. Yo, George, you're the man.
It's
I'm
a pleasure,
super
man.
happy that relax, bro. I'm super happy that we finally got you on the pod, even though
dope.
it's we're near the end here.
It's dope.
Both
Nice.
of the
There's
There's
season.
lotion here if you
And
need
the
pleasure.
caps off. That's Felipe's. Felipe's always
Bro, my
strapped.
hands are so dry out here in the desert,
Felipe's
man.
always strapped.
George, I love you, bro.
No, this is
This
dope.
is
I
awesome.
appreciate you guys bringing me on. You guys know how much I support what you do, so this is dope. This is dope. I appreciate it.
Unreal
yeah.
time. Thanks, George.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate you. Thanks for listening to the Caps Off podcast.
See you Sunday.
We'll see you Sunday. Peace.
Boom.
Super Bowl Sunday is finally here. If you want to get in on any of the action and bet on the big game, make sure to go to thegameday.com/promotions to go bet with FanDuel now.